what happened with Noah? Noah had 3 kids. So let's look at Bereshis, Genesis 5:32. And also, it's important to remember, Chevra, is that the Torah is for the whole world. We did a couple of classes on this, is that the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that in the end of days, Hashem is going to put a Sefer Torah in his lap, so to speak. It's an open Gemara in Avodah Zarah. And he's going to say to all the nations of the world, anybody who is involved in this, in learning of this, come receive your reward. So the Mafarshim say, it's a clear proof from here, from the Gemara, is that all humanity has a role in Torah. And that role is the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach, the 7 Noahide laws. In the end of the Chavetz Chaim's life, he put up signs all around Radin, in a Polish town. These are the 7 Noahides that everybody's responsible for. And who's going to teach that? The people of the book. It's up to us. Now the Chavetz Chaim had a lot of things that he could be doing. He was the Gadol Hador. He was maybe one of the greatest sages that we had in the last, who knows, centuries. And he decided that it was very, very important to do outreach to the world and let the world know about the 7 mitzvahs. Lubavitcher Rebbe, to help and to share. Because everybody who connects to God has a role in the world to come. For the Jewish nation, it's 613 mitzvahs, which means more responsibility. And for the rest of the world, it's 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. So now we have Noach. Welcome Noach. Noach is now, Vayihi Noach ben chamesh me'oi shana. And Noach is 500 years. We're in Genesis. Genesis 5:32. And Noach was 500 years. V'yoyled Noach es Shem, es Cham, ve'es Yafis. And he has 3 children. Shem, Cham, and Yafis. Generally, from Shem comes the Semitic nations. From Cham comes more those that travel to Africa. And Yafis is more the European. The whole story of Hanukkah is that Greece is Yafis. It's interesting, what does the word Yafis mean? It means beauty. It means beauty. Except the ancient Greeks believed in beauty for its own sake. That's looks maxing. Oh, but I'm serious. I saw a guy talking about it. It was hard to take him so seriously, but he was really serious about it. He was talking about the amount of testosterone that he injects into his body daily, the money that he spent on jaw surgeries to make sure that his jawline was mathematically precise to the Fibonacci sequence. I'm not playing. The golden ratio. And then he says, your entire life depends on this, your success depends on this. And the interviewer said to the guy, he's like these things are a bit dangerous, like some of his injections that he was taking. He's like, I'm not into longevity. I'm just literally into body for its own sake. So we now have an introduction for what's going to be the future of humanity, because in the time of the flood, Noah and his family survive, and the rest don't. So now we're on chapter 6. Vayihi ki echel ha'adam laroiv al pneihu adama ubonos yuldu lahem. And it came to pass, when man was increasing on the face of the earth, and they were having daughters. Also, the word hechel is an interesting word, because hechel means that things became more and more profane, like chulin, like chiloni, empty. What does the word chal, or what does halal mean? Halal means an empty space, a halal. What does a chiloni, ani chiloni? Which basically a person is saying, I'm empty. So the world became secular, the world became very profane.
The idea of free is that more the idea of, like, from their point of view, the idea of freedom, meaning I'm empty of any responsibility.
Empty of responsibility, but a complete slave to the Yetzer Hara. We tell a person like this. Somebody goes, he says, "Oh, you can't drive your car on Shabbos. Oh, you're a slave." No, bro, you can't not drive your car on Shabbos. Oh, you can't go on your phone on Shabbos. Oh, you can't not go on your phone. You're the slave. You're the slave to your phone. You're the slave to your car. You can't stop yourself. Yo, you can't vape. You can't not vape. You're pushing the slave. Someone who can't stop with his phone? I'm free man, I do whatever I want. You can't not do it. You're pasha the slave. You're a slave to your phone. Who is the free man? The one that says, I don't need to go with my phone on Shabbos. I'm a free man, I'm above the slavery of the phone. Rabbi Dubov one time, he used to put these memes up, like he posted them around the yeshiva, like he would print them out and put them up. Rabbi Dubov had some good memes. So he put one meme up where the top quadrant of the pic, I guess not a quadrant because it was only two, top half of the picture was a guy, and he had his phone, and it was like his phone was on a leash, and the guy was like, the phone was like this, and the guy was yelling at his phone like, Siri, organize a meeting for me. Tell me what time it is. What's the weather in Bangkok? And the phone's like, okay, no problem. And then at the bottom of the top part, it said the fake world. And then the bottom of the meme was that the phone was like this giant monster. And the guy was like this. And the guy was like on a chain, and like a ball and chain from the phone. The phone's yelling, charge me. I'm at 11%. Okay. It's like, check me. I'm beeping. Okay. And the real world. That's a good meme. Maybe you'll recreate it for the chevra. It's a good meme. Who's really in charge? So came the time, v'yiru b'nei, ho Elokim es b'noi sa'adam, ki toivas heina. Now look at this. The sons of God saw the daughters of man, that they were beautiful. V'yikchu lahem nashim mikol asher bacharu. And they took for themselves women from anybody they chose. What are we talking about here? What is this section all about? Seems like a very interesting thing going on here.
This is the people who were kings and who were like the rulers.
So it says Rashi, Kloimar, Afilu b'nei hasarim ve'ashoftim. Even people that are sarim and shoftim. Elokim also means people of position that are supposed to be in charge of justice and righteousness. They also started going off the derech. And political positions that were supposed to be the beacons of morality, of light, they also started going off the derech. Yes? Behavior of sin that was behavior of illicit relations. Yes. Davracha Rashi says another pshat, Bnei Elokim, Asarim, the angels. Haholchem b'shlichus shel makom. Fallen angels, it looks like. This is intense. Afhem, they came down from heaven. V'hayimis arbim mahem, and they became chummy with the daughters of this world.
Don't they not have free will?
Angels came down and had relations with
Look at Rashi. Now, we do have an idea that angels can leave their angelic state and come into
How do they decide
certain
that?
physical form. There is a concept like that. There's a concept like that. We actually have an example of that, of this kind of shape-shifting, if you will. They usually say that those that are in the world of angels are angels, those in the world and they're totally spiritual, and those that are in the world of physicality are totally physical. We do have an example that the Derech Hashem talks about, where he talks about demons. Demons are not quite in one place or another. They sort of have the ability of going from a spiritual existence and then merging into a slightly physical existence and kind of having this place where they exist in both. Now, this is already not something that's going to be good here. And says Rashi a klal, kol Elokim shebemikra, whenever it says Elohim in Torah, it does not necessarily have to mean God. That's important. Because Elohim could also refer to judges. To judges. But rather, what does it mean? Lashon marus. It means that power, just like judges have power, and God has power, it is a term that is used to refer to power. It's a borrowed term. It never means that people are God. It's exceptionally important. We've been speaking about that a lot, is that human beings are never God. But it means the borrowed quality of the power that God has. Human beings can have a power like that. And he brings a pasuk from Shmois, when Hashem is speaking to Moshe, Ve'ata tieh loi le'Elohim, that God is speaking to Moshe, and that he's saying that you're going to be to Aaron, your brother, like his Rabbi. You're going to be to him like Elohim. Doesn't mean a God. It means you're going to be the one who's the leader. Aaron will be like your student. Which also is an amazing thing, is that Aaron was mature enough that even though who was older, Aaron or Moshe? Aaron was older. Aaron was older. He was able to be subservient to his younger brother, who was chosen to be the leader, which is a very mature level. And he brings another proof. Re'eh nesaticha Elohim. That when Hashem is speaking to Moshe, he says that I made you like a judge upon Pharaoh. So Rashi is bringing proofs here that Elohim doesn't have to mean God. It can mean borrowing something that God has of power, of leadership, and then applying that to a human being. And either, like Rashi gives two pshatim, either we're speaking about people that were in leadership positions and they were falling. Remember, this is all the prelude to the flood, which means if you see these things happening, these things are a lead up to flood, God forbid. Leadership positions, getting involved in illicit things, and then angelic beings. And they saw that women were tovas, hena. Do you see that word tovas, or toivois? Is it missing a letter there? It says, we read it tovot, but would it usually be written tovot, a tet, a beis, and a saf? It's missing a vav. So says Rashi, Amar Rav Yudan. It's that the word is missing. It's maybe even two vavs. It says tovas ksiv, which is hatova, which means the women were, hatova means to like prepare themselves. Kishahaya meitivin oise mekushetis likonis lechopa haya godel nichnas uboilet chilla. Meaning, they saw that they were tovos, but it's written tovas, which means they saw the women of this world when they were making themselves beautified to go and get married. That's exactly when these beings came and took them. Like as the woman is walking towards the wedding canopy, so then she was hijacked and taken. Which means everything we're talking about now is really bad. And these are all lead-ups to the flood. And it says they took from whomever they chose. Mikol asher bacharu.
Is this a healing thing? I don't get how this can be angels.
Imagine the angels, there are such a thing as angels moving into a different form.
But that's by God's choice, so because God chose angels. They don't have free choice. There's a whole thing about the justice.
We do see examples where angels seem to have some level of them making mistakes. We see also that the trees made a mistake, right? And we saw earlier,
Why is everything created to make mistakes?
well, to do tshuva. To do tshuva.
When you said like they're angels, that like they like work good angels, or what was the?
There are bad angels, and they're good ones.
What was the purpose of that like spiritual form?
What was the purpose of them coming in with the daughters?
Yeah.
They wanted to make connection with this world. They wanted to show their power. And the for them to rule down here, they're very powerful. This was a time that the world was spinning out of control, and they had an opportunity to get people to sin. It's like the world was inviting in. The world had become corrupt. So the world was inviting in, maybe you'd call them opportunist forces to make problems. Right? There's a person that comes, it's a person when they dream and they sleep at night, they don't say her name, the Lamed Lamed. She only comes to a person in their dreams if the person made room for her to come. Otherwise, she's not welcome. So the world was spinning out of control, and they were also taking Ba'ulas Baal. They were also taking married women. If we go in Rashi's first shot, we mean that these are people of power. These were the powerful movers and shakers of the world. And also, Af HaZocher VeHaBehema. Also, there was bestiality happening. People and animals. When it says whatever they chose, it was a world that was becoming very degenerate. And whatever they chose means like whatever they chose. This is sick. And what pains me is that sadly there's things in the world that today seem to have semblance to what's going on, which means that's not good. I'm hopeful people will do tshuva. That's why we're here. Is that I believe in the human spirit to do tshuva. And then the pasuk goes on, "V'yomer Hashem lo yodin ruchi bo adam li'olam b'shagam hu basar v'hayi yomav meya ve'esrim shana." My wife pointed this out to me this year. She said, it's amazing. The Torah itself said, ad meya ve'esrim, that God shortened man's lifespan. That God shortened man's lifespan. And Hashem said, "My spirit shall not contend evermore concerning man, since he is but flesh. His days shall be 120 years." God was shortening man's lifespan. Yeah, no.
Just a question. So here it's a Hashem saying my spirit. So obviously leave up to they describe Hashem in physical ways, like he reached out his hand, but obviously God doesn't have a hand.
That's right.
God was upset, but he obviously can't feel upset or angry. He can't obviously feel.
So this is what we
Does
refer.
Hashem have a spirit or a neshama?
So Hashem created the relationship to us called a hand in a way that we could understand. Because I know what a hand is, but this is not God's hand. My hand teaches me things about helping people, about reaching out, about performing, about doing in the world. So when we say that Hashem is reaching out his hand, it means that he's going to now move the world in a certain way. But I'll tell you a deep thing is that Rabbi Akiva Tatz has a famous idea, I think it's World Mask, where he explains that in a deeper way, in Kabbalah, God has a hand. Not him, he created hand. And his hand is actually a real hand. This is just an analogy of God's hand. We think this is a real hand. No, this is just an analogy of understanding God's hand. And God's hand is the energy that he created of movement, and there's a right hand and a left hand, of helping to move the world in a certain direction. So the fact that I have a hand was just an analogy of understanding God's hand. And I have a spirit to understand. A spirit means something of passion. To understand that, so to speak, God created an idea of passion, of putting focus on something. And God is now limiting man's life. Says Rashi, Lo yodun ruchi ba'odam. Yodun means this. Lo yisra'em v'yorev ruchi olai bishvil ha'odam. That Hashem says that man has used his free will to spin out of control. I'm not going to use my spirit to interfere and change his course, but I will shorten his life. La'olam, la'oirech yomim. Hashem was, so to speak, saying to himself, Hine ruchi nodon bikirbi. Im lahashchis, Hashem was deciding to either destroy the world, ve'im larachem, or to leave them. Lo yemodon ze beruchi li'olam. Kloimar, la'oirech yomim. I'm not going to allow this back and forth to go on forever. There will come a time that I will decide, and that there will have to be a consequence. Now, people get bugged out about this, and they think, oh, it's like there's judgment and stuff. That's actually a good thing, because it means that your actions matter, and God is interested in you, and He wants your actions, and you matter. Your actions matter. You are significant. So says Rashi, V'hai yomov ad me'avi esrim shana arich lahem api. I'm going to extend my patience for humanity for 120 years. Ve'im lo yashuvu, and I'll give you 120 years to do tshuva. Which, by the way, that's all hinting to the fact that how many years do we have in our life? 120. 120 years to do tshuva, right? Saying you got your whole life to get this straight. At a certain point, there's going to be an end to that. And that makes your life meaningful, and your decisions meaningful, because you made wise decisions, because there is a finite time frame. By the way, in Sukkot, we used to have big parties in the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara in Sukkot says an amazing thing. The Mishnah there, Dalet, I believe. The Mishnah says that we had these big Simchas Beis HaShuevos, big parties with God. And they had these giant candelabras filled with oil. And they would light up the oil, and they would make light so far that the ladies could check their grain in Jericho. It was so bright, all the way from Yerushalayim. And the Mishnah says, how many lug of shemen, how many lug is a measurement of oil, how many lug would be placed in these giant jugs? 120. Why was that a significant number? Because all the days of Sukkah, what are we doing? We're partying. Zman Simchaseinu. And we're dancing. And Simchas Beis HaSho'eva, the word Sho'eva means we would draw forth Ruach HaKodesh, we would draw forth prophecy while we're dancing, which is also one of the ideas. You can only get prophecy if you're happy, my friends, you know that? No sad people are getting prophecy, only if you're happy. And one of the ways to become happy is through music, Rabbi Sai. Music. So there was music, and people were dancing. And it says the tzaddikim would juggle. They would juggle fire. And some of the tzaddikim knew how to juggle 4 torches, and some of the tzaddikim knew how to juggle 8 torches. So the Rosh Yeshiva would get out there in the middle, start dancing, and start juggling 8 torches. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't think that he would be practicing in his office right now. You know, Sukkot is coming. I better practice with 8 torches and blow them all out before the guys come in for the philosophy shir. It's just that when they get into the moment, you're just juggling. It's just flowing. You and Hashem, or the spirit of prophecy is flowing through a person. His body is becoming a kli. It's becoming seamless with the spirit. And all the while there's 120 lug to tell you while you're dancing and you're so happy, remember your life is 120 years. So all the while remember tshuva. And that's why, what do we also read on Sukkot? Koheles. What's Koheles all about, my friends? Ecclesiastes. Hevel Havalim. The whole world is just empty. Amar Koheles. King Solomon who had everything. He's like, don't get lost in the sauce, boys. You got a Maybach yacht, or 5 of them. Hevel Havalim, it's worth nothing. All you are at the end of the day is your Torah and your mitzvahs. So Hashem said, I'm giving you 120 years. Yes, Yitzchak.
Dancing with fire is like, it sounds like more than you see at well, as opposed to like I would think maybe they'd be dancing with each other. Like it sounds
They would
like
dance with each other, but it's pretty impressive to see somebody juggling 8 torches of fire.
There's no way to it.
Why not?
You gotta go to Shalom Arush.
He wasn't here with Yoshi. He was taking his brother and juggling fire and downstairs.
And David also does it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yo.
When you see a holy person juggling, like at a Jewish wedding,
Yeah.
you feel like it's very beautiful. It's using that skill in a holy way. It's very beautiful. I like juggling. I never did 8 torches before. 3 is pretty good. To see Rabbi Katz, he's a good juggler, you know that? Rabbi Katz can juggle, and while he's juggling, take a bite of an apple, and keep juggling it, and then peel a banana and eat it while he's juggling. And through his legs, physically, Rabbi Katz. And then somebody threw one time an onion in the middle of his juggling, and he just took a bite of the onion. Rabbi Katz. You should know who runs this yeshiva. Rabbi Katz. Shlita. So we're seeing the whole disintegration of the world. So Rabbi said, tomorrow we're going to introduce the Nephilim. How do they say that in English? The Nephilim. The Nepilim. The Nephilim. The fallen ones. Because the next verse is going to say, Nephilim hayu ba'aretz b'yom mahem. And the fallen ones were in the earth at that time. So we need to know who these Nephilim are. There's an opinion that they were giants, mamish giants. There's an opinion that they were giants but it means that they were giants that made people sin. They were so giant in making other people sin. And the word Nephilim means fall. They were the best people at making other people fall.
Why would they be in the earth?
Why were they here?
No, like you said, in the earth.
Hayu ba'aretz.
Taking mud baths.
On earth?
They were mamish Nephilim hayu ba'aretz. They were in the land. You want to say they're under the land. Underground giants.
Maybe it's descending to the snake.
Let's learn about tomorrow.
Are they related to the angels that you said?
The children.
We have the B'nai HaElokim, and the second pshat in Rashi, B'nai HaElokim means these angels that came down. And now we have the Nephilim. We have these giants. We have to learn more about the Nephilim. Who were these Nephilim? And what were they doing? And one pshat is that they were the ones that made people fall in major ways. They were like the CEO of making people sin. They came and they started just making bayot in the world.
Is there a concept where it's like they're the kids of the outer time, like the angels?
Tomorrow we'll have to, I guess, but we don't have shir tomorrow. It's the, I guess Hanukkah, that's the way with Hanukkah. Hanukkah will take us. So b'siyata d'shmaya, we should know that all of this is really just trying to call us to wake up and learn from these horrible ways what not to do. What not to do. And B'ezrat Hashem, to be like Avram Avinu. To be like the children of Abraham that are going forth and that are helping, that are doing, that are making peace in the world. And helping people identify with their souls. And B'ezrat Hashem will do that. Amen ve'amen. Page 975. Yes, Yitzchak. So I thought that we were, but we have a Yom Ian. So it could be that there's not going to be that trip.
Oh yeah, no, just so we know.
Let's just go right now. Let's just go right now.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see.
Right now?
Let's first say Tehillim. Say, Meir Sharon. Or they still here in the yeshiva. We have all the boys here. Okay, that boys sign 975. Let's go. Shir lamalos esayin hayereyarim miyayin yavo ezri me'im Adonai oy ze shomayim va'aretz al yiten lamod raglecha Al yanum shomrecha Hine la yanum V'lo yishan Shemei Yisrael Adonai shomrecha Adonai tzilecha Al yad yeminecha Yoimam hashemesh Lo yakeka V'yareyach malayla Adonai yishmocha mikol ra, yishmor es nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzezcha v'yecha, me'atov yad olam. Zok teheilige gemore. Okay, the boys, I take 1 minute, get what you need to get, and then start with chavrusas, and go from the Mishnah into the Gemara, and then we're going to finish coast to coast. From the Mishnah to the next Mishnah. Thank you to all of our friends around the world learning with us. What's that? No, from the previous Mishnah, then just going straight.